If you are anything like me, then you love to add little upgrades into your life, your daily routine, your weekly routine, your monthly, that make you feel like a more fuller, aligned version of yourself. And lately, I have been focusing on exactly that. And I thought it was time for me to come on here and share with you what has been grounding me lately in my routine. Today, I am going to be sharing with you the habits, the products, the wellness, and the mindset shifts that I am prioritizing in my life right now. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of To Be Known. If you're new here, my name is Michaela Mormon, and I am your go-to girl when it comes to anything personal development related in your 20s. If you are older, if you're younger, I do not care. I am just happy that you are here because today I am going to be sharing with you some of the things that have been grounding me lately. Now, if you are a listener here on the podcast, you know that I like to do this every couple of months, and I thought today is the perfect time for me to share with you an updated list of all of the things that have been making me feel so much like myself lately, like a newer, better version of myself. I love these little changes that we can make into our lives that compound over time. And today I'm going to be sharing with you just some of the things I honestly have been loving lately that have been making me feel like a better version of myself. Plus, at the end of this episode, I'm going to be giving you a little bit of an update on where I am at with my year's themes. If you are a listener, again, here on the podcast, you know that we don't like resolutions around here because by the time that February comes to a close, about 90% of people who made resolutions forget about them. However, on To Be Known, we like to talk about our yearly themes. And my yearly theme for this year, I have two of them. One is creation or creativity, and the other one is exploration. And I just want to give you an update on where I am at with those. Because if you're curious about what these yearly themes are that you can live by, they're just themes that you create for yourself that you want to live out, these feelings that you want to invoke and have in yourself and feel confident in by the time that the year has come to a close. Instead of living life by a list of resolutions, we like to talk about standards and values and, of course, our year's theme. So, with all that being said, let's get into what has been grounding me lately. I have been trying to make little changes to how I use my phone and just kind of going on technology in general, just because I'm trying to create better habits around this. The first thing being that whenever I get the urge to buy something that I see on Instagram or Pinterest or TikTok, I go to the notes app on my phone and I write down whatever it is. I do not go to their website. I do not press a link. I do not add anything to my cart. I am going to my notes app and I am writing down the thing that I want instead of purchasing it or adding it to my cart. I think that this is helping me be a little bit more mindful of just like my phone usage and also how often I am being marketed to when it does come to the different platforms that I am on. It feels like I am constantly being bombarded with the next chic, cute wellness thing that I need to have. However, I don't need to have everything that I see. And it's been a really good practice for the past couple of weeks that I have been doing this, where I feel like I'm being more of an adult and being more aware of my purchasing power and the purchasing decisions that I have been making, because I went through a period of time where I was spending a little bit too much money on things, and it's kind of helped me reel back in the ropes when it does come to online shopping, because God, it is so easy to fall into the habit of just seeing all the cute things that you want and adding it to your cart, and then a sale happens and all the things in your cart are on sale and you just don't know what to do. First world problem. For sure. However, I feel like it's helping me be a little bit more responsible on my phone in general. The second thing, when it comes to trying to have better habits on our phone, I think it's really important for us to be mindful of what apps we are using and how they affect our mental, how they affect our energy, how they affect our attention. And right now, I'm really trying to be very conscious of when I scroll on TikTok and Instagram versus going to other platforms such as Pinterest or Substack that kind of inspire some more inspiration in my life and also have a little bit of a slower pace in comparison to Instagram and or TikTok, just because, you know, you could get so lost in TikTok and this idea of consuming that I'm really trying to focus on creation instead of consumption. When I think about making the shift from Instagram and TikTok to Substack and Pinterest, it's really about being mindful of the curation of my input, because when you go on Substack, it's all about people's words and people connecting and people who want to create and share what they create online. Same thing as Pinterest. I feel like it's very much about curation rather than, I don't know, just posting whatever it is that you want to. I just feel like there's a lot more creativity and a lot more of a slower pace when it does come to being on Substack and being on Pinterest, where I'm reading things and being inspired by things and being inspired by people in ways that TikTok and Instagram just don't do, because I'm being marketed to so much on there. You still get marketing on Pinterest, don't get me wrong. However, I feel like I'm a lot more aware of the things that I'm being marketed by when I'm on Pinterest in comparison to Instagram and TikTok. It's so easy to just get lost in our phones and get lost in all of the noise, that making these little shifts to curating my inputs when it does come to what platforms I'm using, and also making sure that I'm being very mindful of the things that I'm being inspired to purchase and that I'm interested in, and letting that live and exist for another day, maybe when I have the money, and being more mindful about my budget. These things just make me feel like a lot more of an adult version of me, like I am being responsible with my time and with my money in a way that I feel like I wasn't feeling before I made these shifts in my life. I have been absolutely loving products that make me feel like a more chic, elevated version of myself. We all know that this word chic is such a buzzword online right now, and I want more of it in my life. I really want to feel effortlessly chic in my day-to-day. And there are some products that I have bought and added into my life that have made me feel like a more elevated, chic version of myself. And I am going to be sharing them with you today. You don't need to have a million things in your life to help evoke this feeling of chicness. However, I do have 3 that I would recommend for you. The first of them being the Dose, I think is how you say it, or Doe Forever Eye Mask patches. These are reusable eye patches that you can wear every single day. I'm going to open it up. Hopefully it's not too loud. If you're watching the video version, you can see these are so cute. And I put on the product and I put it underneath my eye at the end of my skincare routine in the morning. And I just sit and I journal, or I walk around my apartment and take care of things while wearing these eye patches for like 20 minutes. And I feel so cool. And it helps me feel like I'm being better for the environment by using these eye patches, just because I am trying to help my under eyes and I don't want to use disposable eye patches every single time. However, these so cute. And I know that they have limited time versions that are also super cute. I just have the general ones that they've made. However, I highly recommend the Forever Eye Mask patches by Dose. If you do want to have a little bit of chicness in your life, these are one of the ultimate ways to have that feeling and take care of yourself. If you are wanting to have a little bit more chicness in your life, I cannot recommend these enough, because they help me with my skincare routine, my wellness routine, and just make me feel like I'm so elevated and like I'm living in a little movie every single time I put these on in the morning. The second product that I'm going to recommend to help you feel a little chic in your life is having a pair of ballet flats. Now, I never thought that this would be the shoe for me, and I never thought I would ever talk about ballet flats in my life. However, I have been convinced, and I absolutely love a ballet flat. My favorite are the ones that I'm holding right now. These are the Madewell Greta ballet flats. After searching long and hard, I knew I wanted a square toe flat. And having these in my life have changed the game. I think I'm probably going to wear them a lot. I haven't had them for long. However, they are my new favorite pair of shoe, and I am quite literally obsessed with them. They make me feel so effortlessly cool and timeless and chic, and I love how I feel when I wear them, and they're so freaking cute too. The third thing that I am absolutely obsessed with right now is this compact mirror that has my name engraved on it that my boyfriend gave me for Christmas. This thing makes me feel so effortlessly chic all the time because I'm reapplying my lips. I'm using this. I am pulling it out and I feel oh so cute and oh so cool. And it was given to me by someone who I love. And I'm obsessed with it, to be honest with you. I have it in my purse all the time, and I don't feel like myself without it anymore, because I just love the feeling of putting on a lip or checking my makeup while looking at this instead of having to look in the front camera on my phone. It makes me feel like a real adult, and this is just so cute, and I love it so much. We all love to have wellness in our lives, and I am obsessed with making sure that I'm going into every day and every week, coming out on the other side, feeling like I put my best foot forward and feeling like I'm really taking care of myself and taking care of this wellness aspect of my life. And so I have a couple of things I'm going to be sharing with you that I've implemented into my life to evoke this feeling of wellness on the daily and on the weekly. The first thing that is inspiring wellness into my life is getting out of the house and going to a coffee shop. Going to work at a coffee shop is something that has really just brought me back to my roots and has evoked such a sense of wellness into my routine just because I love coffee. And when I was younger, I loved going to like all of the cool coffee shops in my local area. And I don't know, it just makes me feel very much like myself when I do go out of the house and work at a coffee shop. I feel like I'm living out, like 13-year-old me's fantasy of being the girl who works at a coffee shop. I know it's very simple, but making sure that as a work from home girly that I am getting out of the house really does evoke such a sense of wellness in my life because I know that I'm putting myself out there and I'm putting my best foot forward whenever I do go out and get a latte from my favorite place and connect with the people who are there. On the topic of coffee shops, another thing that I have been absolutely loving lately is going with one of my friends on a coffee shop tour. We have maybe like 3 underneath our belt so far. However, I am loving this little tradition that we are having kind of like on the weekly where we go out and we go to a new coffee shop and just try whatever specialty drink that they have, maybe try a little pastry, and we go together and it is so fun and I'm absolutely loving it. And it makes me just so excited to go out, explore in the world, and also just create a new memory with a friend. That has been a part of my routine that has brought me a big sense of wellness in my life because I'm going out, I'm exploring, I'm connecting. Again, these are themes that I love in my life. And so that has also been bringing a very big sense of, just like fun and wellness into my routine. I cannot talk about wellness without talking about my hair care routine because I had no idea that as a wavy hair girl, that my hair was on the drier side and therefore I need to nourish it more than the average person. I only thought that was for like curly hair people. I didn't understand that I actually needed to do that too. I just thought that the ends on my hair were just like split ends. I had no idea that it was just the fact that my hair was very dry and brittle at the ends. So I could have probably put this in the product section of the podcast. However, I have been loving doing hair masks at least like once or twice a week. And I have 2 that I sort of go in between. Every other time that I'm washing my hair nowadays, I am using the Natural Tech Nourishing Vegetarian Miracle Mask. And my hair has been absolutely loving it. And I also use the Amika Instant Shine hair mask once a week or once every like 10 days, somewhere around there. And I feel like my hair has never been healthier. I also just got a haircut and chopped off the dead ends and did a natural gloss to it. But I am loving how my hair looks right now because it just looks so healthy. I feel like right now I am so focused on my hair care because last year I was just trying to get like my skincare in order. However, now I think I have that handled and I'm really focusing on my hair care. And so adding those little products into my daily routine, my weekly routine. With all that being said, I just want to make sure that I am taking care of my hair and taking care of myself because that makes me really feel like I am taking care of my wellness in general. On the topic of skincare, I actually just had my first ever chemical peel a few weeks back, and I could not recommend it enough. I know like a while ago, I heard that you should get at least 1 chemical peel every single winter to just give your skin like a very good refresh. And my skin has absolutely loved it. I was kind of scared for the recovery process and just like the peel of it all. However, it honestly was not that bad. I could not recommend getting a chemical peel enough. However, it really does take you out for like 10 days when it does come to the healing process. I was so red for days and the peel honestly was not that bad for me. However, I am coming across the other side feeling like my skin is just glowing and radiant and like my skin texture is so smooth. I'm obsessed with it and I'm definitely going to be doing this every single winter from here on out. The next subcategory of wellness and the things I have been loving adding into my life to help me feel like a healthier, more well version of myself is focused on food. And let me tell you, I have 2 snacks that have me in a chokehold that I have been loving to have on the weekly. I'm not really a snack person. Like when it does come to the day, when it comes at nighttime, I most certainly snack and I always want something sweet. However, these 2 snacks are sort of like day snacks that I'm hopping in between. The first being tinned fish on crackers. I never thought I was going to say that. However, here I am. I was influenced online after I saw a girl who had tinned fish and put it on crackers and said that it was, I don't know, like I was amazed at this. I was like, wow, people really do that. I don't know why. It's always freaked me out. However, I do love seafood and I thought it was time for me to grow up and try tinned fish and have it on some crackers. And I love it. I am obsessed. This is not a snack that I have often just because the tinned fish that I figured out that I like is a little bit more pricey. And so it's kind of like a delicacy snack that I add into like my weekly. However, I am absolutely loving it. I really like the Fish Wife tinned fish and it has a pretty price point on it for sure. However, it just tastes so good. You can really taste the quality in the flavor of fish and it makes me feel like I'm getting my protein in as well. The second snack that I am absolutely loving lately is Stolen from Emma Chamberlain. I am someone who really listens to her podcast like on the weekly. I love everything that she has to say. And she shared this snack that sounded so good. And I was like, I have to get it. So obviously I went back home because I was listening to her podcast while I was on my walk. And I ordered the ingredients that I didn't have at home and I made it. It is a Granny Smith apple sliced. Then you have a little bowl of vanilla Greek yogurt and you mix it with the PB like 2 powder, a little bit of water. I add honey into it and then also some peanut butter extract. You know, do it to taste however you want it to be. And it is so good. It is so freaking good. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. After I film this episode, I'm going to go make it for myself. I love this snack so much. It has me in a chokehold. At the time that I'm recording this, it is winter. And the other food thing that helps me feel so well in my life is obviously meal prepping. However, meal prepping soups. And lately this winter, I've been really focused on meal prepping myself 2 soups that I sort of swap in between on like the weeklies. You know, some weeks I just want to have salad at lunch. Other weeks I want to have soup when it is the winter time. And I've been loving meal prepping myself, either a lentil soup or an Italian wedding soup. Those are so good. They make me feel so satiated throughout the rest of the day into my dinner. And I don't know, they're just like filled with protein and veggies and just make me feel like I am so adult and that I am just eating something that feels nourishing to me and also is good for me at the same time is something that I am absolutely loving lately. The power of the mind cannot be ignored when it comes to our ability to change our lives. And one of my favorite mindset shifts I have heard of lately and I'm implementing into my own life right now is called the abundance flow. Now, it's not really coined this by anyone. However, this is how I'm talking about it to myself in my life is this idea of the flow of abundance and creating it in my life because I see that good things come both to me and through me in my life. And so I am applying this idea of abundance when it does come to goodness coming to me and through me when it does come to money. And this is a newer shift that I am going to be making into my life where it comes to this idea of how we can compound our wealth and abundance over time. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Every single week, I have a goal of making $10 more than the week prior. So this week, let's say I would be focused on making 10 additional dollars to, like my salary or whatever it is. And then the following week, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I really love this idea. I saw it from like another creator and I'm trying to implement it into my own life. However, I have yet to start. This is something where I am saying this on the podcast because I really want to make sure that I do start doing this. And the first thing that I have to do is put my clothes that are in my closet on Depop and try to sell them to make some extra cash. Because this idea of abundance coming both to you and through you is something that when you see that it can happen for yourself, making the $10, the 20, the 30, the 40, the 50, I feel like it really helps you see how little changes compound over time and eventually help you in a way that is monetary, not in a way that's just like habit that feels like it has some benefit to your life where you can't really tell like what the benefit is exactly of it, other than that you know that you're liking your life more because of this new habit that you've implemented. However, this abundance flow mindset shift habit, whatever you want to call it, I'm implementing into my own life just to bring about some more like financial security and feeling like I am progressing forward when it does come to making money in my life beyond just like my typical 9-to-5 salary. I feel like money is such a sensitive topic, same thing as this idea of abundance in our lives. And this is just kind of a way I am trying to inspire abundance and make myself feel like I'm doing something beyond just my salary. I don't know what it is, but I am just wanting to have a little bit more of abundance in my life. Maybe it's in reaction to how much money I spent in January. However, this is something that I'm wanting for my life, and I think that you should have it in your life as well, because good things really do come to us and through us. And this idea of abundance and money and just what we can have in our lives, it doesn't have to feel so limited. I feel like money is something that people either see it in abundance or see it in scarcity. And we could talk about that another day. I know that I just did in a podcast episode on abundance and scarcity. However, when you see that you can create money in your life, whether it is in the most simple way of just making $10, I think that really helps you see what is out there for you to make beyond just, your typical job that you do have. And so this abundance flow is something I'm really trying to implement into my life, and I've built it out of how I'm going to do this. However, it is rather new to me, and it is a mindset shift that I'm wanting to have more of in my life right now. I hope that of all of the things that are actually helping me improve my life right now, that you like at least one of those things and want to implement it into your own life, because I wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't genuinely recommend it to you. And with that being said, I really want to give you guys an update on where I am at with my year's themes because of that statistic that I have shared with you earlier about how people typically by the end of February, like 90% of people kind of stop doing their resolutions. And that's why this idea of the year's theme is so important, because it is a theme that you are searching to have in your life day in, day out, on the weekly, on the monthly, and reconnect with it. And this past couple of months has been such a blur. I was so busy in January, and things are finally like starting to chill out by the time that I'm filming this in February. And this is going to come out like March of 2026. And I just wanted to give you a little recap on where I am at with everything, because maybe you also need the reminder to go back to maybe your resolutions or your year's theme and sort of see where it is that you're at with those things and how far you have come or how little you have gotten through what you really wanted to do so far in the year. If you have no idea what I'm talking about when it does come to having a theme for your year, what I am talking about here is just a feeling that you want to evoke, something that you really want to focus on having more of in your life. Making sure that you're keeping your year's theme as simple as possible is key here. And what I think makes a very simple year theme is just a feeling that you want to evoke within yourself that is 1 to 2 words. And so for me, I have 2 themes for this year. One of them being fearless creation, and the other one being exploration, or just simply trying new things in my daily, in my weekly, and my monthly. I am wanting to have more of that in my life, a sense of adventure. And so I just kind of categorized it as exploration. So for me, with these yearly themes I've had, I've really been trying to focus on the daily, on focusing on little things that I could do each day to inspire this. For this theme of exploration in my life, I made this list of 52 things for me to do to help inspire this idea of exploration and adventure in my life. It is something that I go back to, and I make sure I do one of those things a week, and I can proudly say that I have done this. However, it doesn't look as perfect as I wanted it to. We're about like 8 weeks into the year so far at the time that I'm recording this, and I have gotten 8 weeks done. Some weeks I've done 3 things, and then the other weeks I have done none. However, I am making sure that I am making up for the weeks that I might have missed something and doing an extra one the following week or the week before, because let me tell you, it has been a very busy year so far, but that is why I made this list of 52 things that range from high effort items to low effort items, so that even on the weeks where I'm not feeling like I can go out and do something that feels adventurous or like I really am exploring, I have little things that I could do, little habits that I could change, or things that I could implement into my day, like taking a new walk route. That's something that I've done in the past couple of weeks where I'm like, okay, I'm marking off that one, and that's going to be the low effort item that I'm doing today is I'm going to go on a walk. That's not my typical walk. However, it's going to help me feel like I am exploring because I'm just doing a little bit of something new this week. With that being said, I'm just really proud of myself and the fact that I am continuing to create this sense of adventure and exploration in my day-to-day. Moving on to my year's theme of fearless creation, creativity in general. This is the idea of me going out into the world and filming, taking photos, curating, posting, painting, anything really that is rather creative. I have some room for improvement when it does come to this one. Creativity is hard because some days I don't feel like I have the bandwidth or the time for me to be creative, at least at some point in my day. I feel like I'm so busy and so overwhelmed that creativity kind of like slips through the way. However, I am actively trying to choose creativity. Even in the idea of how I do consume my media, I am really trying to focus on asking myself what it is about a certain piece that I'm reading or a certain video or whatever it is that has my attention. And I'm really trying to pick it apart and see what it is that I really like about it. It's changing, reframing the way that I do see things so that even though I am in an active or passive mode rather of consuming, I'm still trying to switch it and activate my creativity when it does come to the things that I do consume. It's this mindset shift that I am trying to find inspiration in the things that I am consuming in order to evoke some more creativity in my life. However, I feel like this is kind of a little bit of a cop-out simply because I could say, oh, me scrolling on Pinterest is me curating and trying to find things to help inspire inspiration, which, yes, it's true. However, I know that this is not exactly what I planned for when it does come to creating creativity in my life. I definitely wanted to spend more intentional time painting and writing and doing things that really help me build up this creative muscle within. I need to go out and take art classes and do the paint by numbers and write poetry and do all of the things that I wanted to create in my life. However, the fact that I'm not as far along in this journey of creativity for myself as I wanted to be doesn't mean that I have to hold guilt or shame for it. It just means that I need to reprioritize. And that is kind of what I am trying to do right now in my life. When it comes to these themes that we can have in our lives, it's really just all about progression and seeing that the things that we spend our time on, the things that we put our attention towards, that is how we have real progress and growth in our lives. And so when it comes to exploration and creation and how I'm wanting to have more of that in my life, it's all about prioritizing. It's all about focusing. It's all about making sure that I am going back and holding myself accountable when it does come to this year's theme. And so that is why I'm sort of talking with you about it today and sort of checking in when it does come to the things that are actually improving my life. Because whenever I focus on my year's themes of exploration and creativity and all of these little habits and changes that I can make in my day-to-day to make my life better, I feel very successful. I see the abundance that I have in my life. I see what I am grateful for and what I have yet to be grateful for. And it's a beautiful life that we get to live. And that is really how I'm trying to view myself and to view everything every single day is an opportunity for me to grow, an opportunity to learn something new, an opportunity to try and to love and to be loved and to be seen and to be known and to see and know others. And I don't know, just expand my mind and my life and my thoughts. And so hopefully you like all of the stuff that I said today, because holy moly, was this an episode. With all that being said, I hope that you took something away from this episode, whether it is any of the habits, the products, the mindset shifts, the wellness things that I shared with you at the beginning, or reconnecting with your year's theme, or starting a theme for yourself right now. You don't have to wait until next year to start this theme for your life. You could choose it today, and you could choose it every single day afterwards. If you really liked today's episode, please give this a thumbs up and click subscribe. If you are listening on YouTube, if you are listening on Spotify, please give this podcast a 5-star review and follow along there as well. And if you could please share with me any insights or takeaways in the comments down below. I really, really, really love hearing from you guys. If there's anything that you want to implement into your life, please share with me what it was so that I can know what inspired you. I really love hearing from you all. And if you really want to follow along the To Be Known journey, head over to To Be Known Pod at Instagram and TikTok. The links will always be in the show notes below. And with all that being said, stay true to you. Bye.